Hello, it's me, and I'm ready to call Rog on Discord or the phone. We'll see which one he answers to. Right, let's first try Discord. Where are you? There you are. Weird, there's no sound for it. The silence as we keep calling. And when one doesn't work, we must go to the other one, which is calling him on Facebook. We're calling him. Hello?
Hello.
You're all awake?
Are you on Edge or are you on Facebook?
I'm on Discord and Facebook right now.
Discord,
I called you because you didn't answer on Discord.
Discord didn't answer?
Yeah.
Didn't ring. It was
Well,
open.
you're awake. That's all I wanted to do is make sure you're awake.
Right on. Still productive member society.
Yep.
Somewhat. Alright, here we go. Cameras, action. I don't see you.
Oh, give me a sec. Let me meet up with you on Facebook.
I hear you. One cough. Hey. Hello, morning.
Hello, morning.
Ready to do headlines? I'm almost awake. You ready to do headlines?
Yep.
Can't see
Let
you.
me
What?
open it up.
Right.
So I think it's all going to be about... Yeah, okay. Alright, so you want... your camera's not on, by the way.
Yeah. I don't even see myself. Here we are. Thought I turned it on. There we are.
You want to pan your camera over a little bit? Because you're, like, leaving. You're, like, slowly exiting the frame. Yeah, there. Yeah. Alright, perfect. Alright, so I'll go first, and then we'll transition to you, and you'll see your headline. How many headlines are we doing? 2, 3, 4?
I got two. Who's first?
I'll go first because I
Okay, go ahead.
I always like to take the lead. Hello, welcome to Before Coffee, and it's me, Allison. Today, Zelinsky is asking the Parliament of the European Parliament that Ukraine will become part of the EU. In other news,
Mitt Romney called George Soros a sick puppy. Santos was last seen strapped to the roof of Mitt Romney's Volvo.
and then of course, can't forget about the terrible tragedy in Turkey and Syria, with the death toll rising now to 16,000 people dead, confirmed dead.
And Twitter testifies that Trump tried to censor pussy ass bitch.
All right. Oh, sorry. It's my story first. All right. My story first. NOS reports that Zelinsky is still very fervent about joining the EU in order to breach that protection that he needs in order for Russia to not be invading his entire country. In the speech, he thanked everyone in the European Union for supporting Ukraine, and he resoundingly screamed out that they will join the European way of life and defend themselves against the biggest anti-European power in the world, is what he said. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's very risky for the European Union to just accept Ukraine, because they have kind of a procedure, right? Don't they have a procedure they're going to do? They have to do like a set up procedure that they would have to probably bypass.
What I know about that, because I did study the European Union in my bachelor's degree, is that usually I think there's three criteria you have to fit. If I remember correctly, it's been a while since I studied it, but one of them is your monetary value has to match or be within a margin of the euro. And second thing is you have to have the civil rights matching the European way of life, as Zelinsky said. And I can't remember a third one. It's either political, like you can't be like a dictator or something, which is obviously not a problem.
Democracy.
Yeah. But I think it's economic, it's political, and it's also cultural. You have to actually support things that are legal in the European Union, which is one of the reasons actually Turkey was denied their application. Before the revolution, they were definitely possible for them to join, but after the revolution, unfortunately, there was a lot of more stricter cultural rules, religious dogmas that were basically denying them entry into the European Union, because that stuff is just not part of the equal rights that the European Union helps protect for everyone in the country. So if they were to let a country like Turkey, who is trying to revoke rights from people into the European Union, it would be counterintuitive to the whole union.
That was the long explanation.
And for your story?
My story. Oh, Mitt Romney again was seen during the State of the Union address, basically laying into George Soros. George Soros has cozied on up to shake the president's hand as he walks up the aisle, and it's not a political thing. It's like, this is a president, and he's gonna shake hands. We don't care what party it is. We want to be on the, we want to be seen. We want to be. George Soros who basically don't belong there. Just goes right up the receiving line, and Mitt Romney was letting him have it. And somebody asked Mitt Romney what he told him, and he said, "You don't belong here. Go sit down in the back." He basically let him have it. He wouldn't let him. Good for Mitt. I mean, that's basically into that story. As far as it's for humorous content, it's gold. Did you want to go to a second story? How do I do mine?
For my second story, of course, still very huge casualties in the earthquake that has shattered Syria and Turkey. A first aid convoy has finally arrived to continue help, specifically a Dutch rescue team, pull people out of the rubble. Syrian city of Aleppo has a shortage of food, water, medicine, and fuel for years, but now it's even worse, of course, because that stuff is even more useful now that not only have people lost their homes, but they also have lost places to even exist, because the earthquake has destroyed entire infrastructure of the entire border and both countries. And of course, kind of grimly, a lot of those houses that have collapsed still have people inside, dead or alive.
Want to put up the number for the International Red Cross?
Actually, I have a donation, which
Okay.
is, well, for me, it was a Dutch donation. It's called Giro 555. It's a organization that's helping with donating to both the Ukraine crisis and the the Syria and Turkey
Syria. We can put
earthquake.
up like smiling during it. Doesn't help either. But,
Yeah, it's a
We're-
GIRO 555
Yeah.
.nl. You can donate there. I don't know if there's an American donation drive going. I haven't been able to find one myself because I
Yeah.
wanted to open a donation link on my Twitch channel so then while I'm streaming people can donate. But I
Yeah,
was
he-
unfortunately not able to find
He's
one.
talking about things that people can do something about, and we're making jokes. To me, it's just bad form. Anyway.
I'm not making any jokes. What jokes did I make?
Oh, but I would rather make jokes than sit here and talk about serious stuff all the time because it doesn't really.
That's the news.
I mean,
I'm just saying that's what's
I
the
mean-
news in European news.
let's move it along to something that's not really depressing. Well, it never works. It's just more like, what are they joking about? That's the only problem I have with all the seriousness. Life sucks. Life is one long series of awful things. So we're gonna joke about it sometimes. That's just the way it is. News is awful.
You
by
can
nature.
continue to your next story if you're so annoyed about negative news.
I'm not about it. I'm not annoyed about it. I just would like more cheering.
I wish the
Yeah.
world was more positive too.
Yeah, well, I wish it was too, but I can't, dwell on negative stories. We can't really do it. It just doesn't push the show along. It's like, oh,
Well,
Here's
you're
all my
still dwelling on it, so if you would like to
Yeah, I
move
know.
on.
this is a good thing we have a good editor. Twitter testified. This is part of the Republicans' thing to get even with anything that ever did anything that was harmful. Twitter testified yesterday that the Republicans held a hearing to try to figure out why Twitter buried a story about Hunter Biden's laptop or his sex life or something stupid that the New York Post ran. And Twitter testified, yeah, we waited 2 days and then we ran. We let people link to the stupid fake story anyway. In the meantime, Twitter also testified that Donald Trump. Well, the core of the story was, well, you only killed that story because Joe Biden made you kill that story, and there was like no evidence that Joe Biden made him kill the story, but there was evidence that, well, Donald Trump was calling him all the time to kill stories. And of course, the media jumped on the one which was about John Legend's wife, Chrissy Turgeon, who Donald Trump decided to insult a whole bunch of people in a tweet by name, but in Chrissy Turgeon's name, he called.
I believe it's Chrissy Teigen.
Teigen. I'm not great with names.
That's fine.
I don't know celebrities.
I just wanted to correct you. You can continue with the story.
No, John Legend is, and that's probably why Donald Trump did it that way. But Chrissy Teigen said, called Donald Trump a pussy ass bitch, and for not using her name, which I guess I am too because I can't remember names. But anyway, that got testimony in Congress, and so everybody had to put that term out as pussy ass bitch, and that was a little bit of humor into the world, considering the fact they're trying to go after, something that don't exist, and they got thrown right back in their face as, well, you're accusing one guy of doing this, but your guy was doing it, was actually doing it, threatening Twitter, remove that tweet from John Legend's nasty wife is what he called her, and they didn't do it.
Yeah, actually, I do follow this Twitter user, Chrissy Teigen, and I did see her reaction to the news that they quoted her in basically in front of Congress, and she was lost for words. I also remembered this particular interaction when it was happening as it was happening. Lots of Twitter was very crazy back in the days of Trump's presidency, because it is wild that he was able to do all the things he did and got away with it. I believe AOC even remarked on this on the same congressional hearing, saying, "Wait, this dude's breaking all of the rules and they didn't do anything about it." Like,
and meanwhile, First Amendment protects Twitter's right to do whatever the hell they want to do. They're not the government; they're a private company. Thank you very much.
exactly. In more positive news, since that's what you want, there has been transition here. There has been a blunder with Google's AI chatbot.
Oh, yeah.
It's starting to tell lies and untruths, as we like to call them, the untruths.
I was about to sign up for that test, to test the chatbot, see if it will work right. Yeah, anyway, go ahead.
Google introduced the new service Bard this week in response to a similar initiative by Microsoft called the ChatGPT AI text generator. This should make it possible, NOS reports, to obtain detailed answers to specific search queries. For example, you can ask for travel tips for a 5-day trip to London, or some of what's trending on Twitter. You can also see a photo of super ancient galaxies, for example. Of course, there has been errors in the use of this. As someone took an image of an exoplanet 14 years before the Webb telescope, it's impossible for this to actually have been an actual ancient galaxy. There's no way it's an actual real galaxy, and it's actually just a render that somebody created, not real telescopic footage.
So you can't use it to settle an argument because they're just gonna lie.
Yeah. Look, here's the specific problem was showing an image that doesn't actually exist. It's somebody's artistic render of what they think an ancient galaxy would look like.
Good for humor. That's what they're good for. So are you gonna sign up for it, or should I sign up for the chatbot?
You should sign up for it. I'm not really interested in AI stuff. I think it's gonna cause not to bring bad news, but I do not want to. What is the singularity? I do not want the singularity to occur. So the only AI I use is one that removes background from photos, because it's way easier than me doing it myself. In some cases it's terrible. And 2, I use another AI to make my image into more of a cartoony, artistic render, so that I can make emotes. And that's all I've ever used AI for. I'm not really interested in generating all new creations using AI.
That's practical. That's practical application. I'm talking about humorous content.
Yeah, I'm not interested, I guess.
Get an argument with a robot. That's what I'm talking about. And our robot goes, well, your mother is so forth and so forth after a while. That's what I want to get to, the point where the robot is insulting mine. Anyway. Want to get into the super...
your on this day recap?
On this day?
You forgot yesterday. Yeah.
On this day, the Battle of Guadalcanal was won by the United States and allies. Mostly it was the United States. Really, nobody else in the old gave us. But we won, I guess Australia. I should say Australia was here. But we won the Battle of Guadalcanal, backed by our famous Admiral Halsey. We're so sorry, Uncle Albert.
Yep.
Also, my Super Bowl tips. My Super Bowl tip. Take the under. Take the under. You got 2 injured quarterbacks and one team that really likes running, and 2 good defenses. I would take the over, and I think the over right now is about 50. And I would take the over at 49. I would take it at 48. I would take it at 47. I'd take it all the way down to like 45. I don't think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I think it's going to be field goals. You got another story?
I suppose I could talk about sports, but I don't really have an interest in it. So.
The top 10, more than 10 women in the history of television.
Yeah, here you go.
Female characters. Number whatever. Elaine from Seinfeld. Number 2. We're going from 1 to 10, or whatever number I have here. Jeannie from I Dream of Jeannie. Number 3, Samantha Stevens. And I've noticed one thing on these names, the last names, they always give them men's names with an S. So Samantha Stevens, Ginger Grant from, Samantha Stevens was from Bewitched, for all those uninitiated ones. She was the witch. Ginger Grant from Gilligan's Island. Of course, Mary Ann, which I'm a Mary Ann. A little slightly more a Mary Ann than a Ginger. And every man knows what I'm talking about. That girl, Anne Marie, which was Marlo Thomas. And I include Marlo Thomas because she's a great human being. And The Flying Nun. The Flying Nun was a great show. It was a great show with Sally Field. Sally Field was like 10 when she made that show. Lucy, don't forget Lucy. Lucy, all the Lucy characters. She was always Lucy.
She was the reason Star Trek went on air.
Speaking of Star Trek, Lieutenant Uhura made you want to go into outer space.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maud was the opposite of Archie Bunker. The very opposite. Archie Bunker was a bigot. He was a white guy. He was mad at the changing world, and Maud was a feminist. Maud was Archie Bunker's cousin-in-law. Edith's cousin.
Yes.
Cagney and Lacey, the women cops. There was no women cop partners, detectives. Sharon Gless played, I forget which one was which. I'm terrible because my mom watched this, your mom watched this. But she had a drinking problem. And that was like one of them things that made, they made cops more human. They really did. And Mary Tyler Moore, and of course on Mary Tyler Moore you had two. You had Betty White as Sue Ann Nivens.
Yes.
And Mary Tyler Moore is another name. She wasn't Mary Tyler, she was Mary Richards. Another case.
Yeah.
They take a name and put it as their last name. Samantha Stevens, Mary Richards. Yeah, they just did that in TV. So, and Betty White played Sue Ann Nivens, who legendary repartee with Murray. It was just the funniest part of the show. It was every week, Sue Ann would come in and talk about Murray being bald, and Murray would talk about Sue Ann being a whore. And it was funny. So, it made the whole thing just, this show better. That's my list. I don't know how many that is. I will probably make another list of some sort at some point in the future.
Let's be fair.
Yeah.
Who cares how many are on the list? Because a lot of female actors or women actors or actresses, I guess, are never greatly celebrated until they are really old or they die. It's changing now these days, but a lot of the older actresses never got their shine.
Well, TV actors in general never get the recognition, right?
Yeah.
There's always a TV actor. What do you do?
In my media news, we've got, of course, speaking of TV, do you remember Fawlty Towers? The comedy show starring John Cleese working at a hotel? Well, according to news here, after 40 years, they're going to re-film Fawlty Towers and giving it a sequel. 83-year-old John Cleese will return in the new series.
83.
Camilla Cleese will also star and co-write the script. His daughter. And it will also feature Prunella Scales. It will not feature these actors. Sorry. Prunella Scales has Alzheimer's, so she will not be able to appear in the show. Connie Booth has retired completely, and Andrew Sachs unfortunately passed away. So
They're lucky, not to get morbid, but they're lucky they can drag John Cleese to the finish line. He's 83.
Yes. I do know that John Cleese has gotten into a lot of stuff himself. Because he's an older man and he has older sensibilities, and I know he has said some stuff on social media that have made people angry.
I find it hilarious that John Cleese would get in trouble for saying something wrong. He's been saying something wrong his entire life.
Yes.
Anyway.
The BBC streaming service is now broadcasting the episode where he insults German guests with a warning, to the dismay of Cleese, who defended himself by saying, "The series are made by an ancient fossil left over from decades before. We support not his statements, we ridicule them."
Yeah, it's a time machine.
Yes, I don't know if you know the famous episode insulting Germans, where he does indeed drop the N-word. And other sorts of things. The show was very famously, you probably watched though. I've only seen scenes of it because I actually watched it for one of my courses in university. But what do you think about the show?
I think censorship in any form is bullshit. And I don't agree with everything everybody says, but that doesn't mean they don't get to say it. And telling people shit ain't funny because you make fun of other people is fucking ridiculous. That's what humor is, making fun of fucking people. Now, if you're making fun of little kids that are starving, that's another thing. That's not funny. Punching down, remember, here's a rule. Punching down is not funny. Punching up is really funny. Punching directly across the bow is completely, totally hilarious. So, when people get offended by humor, good, you're offended.
But would you say that punching down can be an opinion, right? You can decide where the limit is for punching down, punching up, and punching across.
Punching down would be
problem now.
Lecturing people about their lifestyle. It's just making a joke. That would be it. You make a joke. You go to San Francisco, say, like Norm Macdonald goes to San Francisco and makes gay jokes, makes 20 gay jokes. The whole entire audience is gay, laughing their ass off, right? At these jokes that are obviously in poor taste. But it's a joke.
All right. You have anything else to report today in your American news?
What's that?
You have anything else to report today?
No, we can do today's birthdays.
We can do birthday.
I don't know what today's birthday is. We missed Mary Queen of Scots and her head chopped off. That was less than a birthday than it was anything else. No, I guess I don't have anything else.
All right. Well, this has been Allison with Before Coffee reporting from Europe, and
this is Roger reporting from the lovely, lovely southern Maryland, where it's going to be almost 70 degrees today, February. So get them bikinis out. Bye.
Hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.